Success doesn't start with applause. It starts with silence. And most people will never make it because they can't stand the sound of their own thoughts echoing in an empty room. They crave validation. They want company. They need someone to tell them they're doing a good job. But the truth is, the path to greatness is walked alone. Not forever, but long enough to force you to face the real you, the undistracted, unfiltered, uncensored version of yourself. That's why success demands isolation, because it's in the quiet that you find out who you really are, not who you pretend to be on social media, not who your friends think you are, not the character you play to keep people comfortable, but you, the version that still has doubts, the version that still hears the voice that says, "You'll never make it," the version that still remembers being counted out. You don't build greatness around noise. You build it around discipline. And discipline doesn't grow in crowds. It grows in solitude. Ask yourself, why are you so uncomfortable being alone? Why does silence scare you? Because deep down, you know, isolation strips the mask. And once that mask comes off, you have no choice but to face the cracks in your armor. No distractions, no comfort, just you and the mission. And that's where most people tap out, because it's easier to run back to the noise. It's easier to blend in than break through. It's easier to scroll than to sit still and ask yourself, what am I really doing with my life? But you're here because you've already tasted that quiet. You felt the sting of being left out. You've lost people. You've stayed in on Friday nights while everyone else was partying. You've trained alone, built alone, studied alone, healed alone. And that's not weakness. That's where warriors are made. The world doesn't clap for you when you're unseen. It doesn't care about your 5 a.m. grind, your late-night tears, your self-doubt, your unfinished business. But that's okay, because the real work is never public. They'll cheer when it's done, but they won't help while you're doing it. That's why isolation is part of the contract. You want to rise? Detach. Detach from needing to be understood. Detach from needing permission. Detach from people who only love you when it's convenient. You've got to fall out of love with comfort and fall in love with the process. Because success isn't something you find, it's something you build. Brick by brick, hour by hour, with nobody watching. And the deeper you go, the more you'll notice the silence gets louder. Friends stop calling. Family gets confused. People say you've changed. You have, because you realized you're not here to fit in. You're here to become. And becoming means losing parts of you that were never built to last. It means letting go of people who can't grow with you. It means being willing to be misunderstood. For years, everyone wants the finished product, but nobody wants to see the isolation it takes to build it. They want the results, but they don't want the retreat. They want to be celebrated, but they're afraid to be alone. But let me tell you something. There's power in isolation. Because when you strip everything away, the noise, the comfort, the opinions, all that's left is the truth. And if you can stare that truth in the face and keep moving anyway, you become dangerous, unstoppable, unshakable. You stop chasing validation. You start building vision. You stop reacting. You start creating. You stop pleasing. You start producing. This world doesn't need another loud voice. It needs more silent builders. Men and women who are willing to disappear so they can reappear unrecognizable. But that version of you, that higher, colder, sharper version of you, you don't meet them at the party. You don't meet them in comfort. You don't meet them with applause. You meet them in the dark, at 2 a.m., when it's just you, your work, and your why. You meet them after you've been forgotten, after you've been counted out, after you've buried your old self in the silence and refused to dig it back up. And when you come back, stronger, quieter, more focused, they won't recognize you. But that's the point. You didn't go through hell just to come back the same. You didn't suffer in silence to stay small. You didn't give up friends, sleep, peace, comfort, just to be average. This is your becoming. This is your evolution. So don't resent the isolation. Respect it. It's the cocoon before the wings. And if you stay locked in, if you stay faithful to the silence, it'll give you something louder than applause ever could. Legacy. In isolation, you begin to see the truth, not the filtered version of life that people show on screens, but the raw, brutal, honest truth of who you are and who you're becoming. And if you stay in that space long enough, you begin to transform, not overnight, not in one big moment, but quietly, relentlessly, one choice at a time. You wake up and train when no one's watching. You study while others sleep. You build while others talk. You keep promises to yourself, not for praise, but for power. That's the shift, from external validation to internal dominance. Because true power isn't loud, it's silent, it's steady, it's earned when no one's watching and nobody cares. And the longer you stay isolated, the clearer it all becomes. You start realizing how much time you used to waste, how many fake relationships you poured energy into, how many distractions you called self-care that were just escapes from accountability. You start cleaning the room, cleaning the mind, cutting the noise, sharpening the blade. Because you understand now, you don't need 100 people to support you. You need to become the kind of person who supports themselves. You stop chasing comfort and start craving structure. You stop needing hype and start living by habit. You stop asking, "Who's with me?" and start saying, "It doesn't matter. I'm with me." And that's when it happens. That quiet explosion inside your chest. That fire no one can see, but you feel it burning every hour you don't waste. Discipline becomes your friend. Repetition becomes your religion. And the result? They begin to whisper louder than any applause ever could. Because now, you're not just working, you're ascending. There's a version of you rising in the dark. One who doesn't flinch. One who doesn't fold. One who's immune to opinions. Because he was born in silence and built in solitude. That version of you? He's dangerous. Because he knows the secret. That greatness doesn't happen when people notice you. It happens when you stop caring if they ever will. You're not building a moment. You're building a legacy. And legacy doesn't come from likes. It comes from consistency. It comes from self-respect. It comes from shutting the door, turning off the noise, and putting in the damn work. When it's cold, when it's lonely, when it's hard to believe in yourself. But you do it anyway. Because now you know. The isolation wasn't a curse. It was the refining fire. It burned away the weakness. It burned away the noise. It burned away the need to be seen and revealed the version of you that was meant to rise. Look at you, still here, still standing, still building. While they slept, while they laughed, while they watched, you evolved. And now you're starting to feel it. That shift, that peace, that quiet confidence that comes from keeping promises when no one's clapping. You're not bitter. You're built. You're not broken. You're battle-tested. You're not angry. You're aligned. Because there's nothing more dangerous than a person who suffered in silence and kept going. There's nothing more powerful than someone who learned how to win alone. You stopped begging. You stopped explaining. You stopped shrinking to fit into rooms that were never built for your size. And now the world's about to see the result. Not all at once. Not in a single viral moment. But slowly. Systematically. Unstoppably. They'll see it in how you walk. How you speak. How you no longer react. How you no longer chase. Because silence gave you what noise never could. Clarity. Conviction. Control. So now, when the spotlight finds you, you're ready. Not just to be seen, but to be undeniable. Because what was once isolation has become insulation. From doubt, from weakness, from anything that tries to pull you back into the old version of you. You've been rewired, rebuilt, refused to be reduced. And when they ask how you did it, you'll smile. Because they'll never understand the silence. They'll never understand the nights you almost gave up. The mornings you rose before the sun, tired, alone, uncelebrated, the sacrifices you made without recognition. but you'll know. And that's enough. Because the goal was never to be understood. It was to become undeniable. So to anyone out there still in the dark, still grinding without results, still waking up to a room that feels too quiet, too empty, too cold, stay there. Don't rush the process. Don't beg to be seen. Don't lower your standards just to feel less alone. Let the silence teach you. Let the discipline mold you. Let the loneliness stretch you. And when your time comes, you'll walk into the light with a calm no one can shake, a purpose no one can steal, and a presence no one can ignore. Because you didn't just survive isolation, you used it. And you emerged from the quiet as a weapon, as a force, as a blueprint for everyone who thought solitude meant weakness. Now they know. Now they see. Now they hear. But it's too late. You've already built it. In the dark. In the silence. In the spaces no one else was willing to enter. This is your reminder. You didn't get here by chance. You got here by choice. And every sacrifice, every lonely night, every silent win that no one clapped for, it all built this. If this spoke to you, stay with us. Like the video. Subscribe to Winner's Frequency. And keep showing up, especially when it's quiet. Because success still demands isolation. But you're ready now.